Greetings, dear friends. In this lesson, we will work with CSS styles to beautify our blog so that it looks like this. Let's take a look. Sidebar width. We have 440 pixels. We will write the styles for the block directly in CSS within the block itself. And we are interested in this container, yes, the wrapper. Essentially, it is our main container here inside. So let's move to CSS. Don't forget to have the compiler turned on. And in our main selector, the sibling will be our container. We will make it flex. We will set the gap as we have here. 48 pixels. And justify content spaces between. Next we have, it has an aside game image. Its width will be 440 pixels. Height, well, let's go. We will set a static height of 650, let it be. 650 pixels. I need this height because I am going to make a sticky scroll now. But let's also set a minimum height, or if there won't be a photo, 200 pixels. I set the sticky position so that when scrolling this content, the image on the left in the sidebar also moves along with the content. Now you will understand the effect I'm talking about. And we will set the position for WebKit as well. Like this. And we will set the top to 48 pixels. This is our margin, so it doesn't stick to the top. Now we will see how it beautifully fits. And the second point is the content part. The content part is located in game content. The width of this box will be calculated using 100% minus 4 CRT, and the gap, it will be 488. Display, we will also set flex direction column, and all elements will go down like this. So well. Next, we return to the site. In the sidebar, we will write styles for the image. This container for the image will have a width of 100%, a height of 6 and border radius of 24 pixels. The image inside will fill 100% of the hole. We add object fit cover and the border radius. We then remove it from the container because it will be on the image further. The container will probably have a margin bottom of 24 pixels. And let's take a look. Refresh the page. Refresh with cache clearing. We have a little problem here in the selector. We have single game. Now refreshing. So wonderful, good. When scrolling, my sticky doesn't work. This often happens because you need to override the overflow on the body. So let's try to find some class for this page. For example, this single product. And we'll set the body with the class single product. For it, we will set the overflow to visible, but with important. And now I think the sticky will work perfectly. Yes, now the sticky is perfect. It works exactly what I wanted. And here are the 48 pixels that I set. He applies them here, and it doesn't stick to the top edge of the window. Now these icons, let's style them. The icons are styled in the CSS game store, but we'll have to override them since we have different colors. Like 24 pixels. And the icons themselves, let's force. This interests me, the attribute field with the color code. How many do we have before we need to make them text primary? This light of the knife, but without the hash. But let's check. Perfect. We'll perform the same procedure for the other platforms now. But the hard coding is that I'll make the same styles for the dark version now. So wonderful, we did it for the light version. Let's switch to the dark one. Let's take the selector. In our CSS, we'll make an exception here for the body with the class, which is our dark mode. I don't remember this class, I'll check it now. So, the dark mode game store class is called and we only change the color variable. White. And we'll do the same procedure with the other figures. So wonderful, we did it for the dark version and for the light version. Now let's gradually move over to the right part. So as we can see, the top line content game. We have display legs such as line items. Flex start on the top line. Justify content such as spaces between and set the gap to 24 pixels. No, let's set it to 48. Then inside we have H1, but it has a size. We will need to override this size to 54 now. This is the size, like H2. Let's go to press our main in the game store and take this size for H2. We will use it for H1. Otherwise, well, we leave the text color as primary. We also leave the other styles. By the way, the gap here is not 48. We need to make a bigger gap here. Probably we will set a maximum width of 650 pixels for this H1 and get closer to this result to achieve the desired outcome. Next, in the following step, we will ensure that there is a consistent 32 pixel gap for all elements, spacing of 32 pixels between all the elements. Now, let us proceed to the game content section and make sure to set the spacing to 32 pixels. The next section is languages, which includes various aspects such as display links, line items, and center. Additionally, it involves flex wrap functionality. Add wrap, because there can be many values, they should go into 2 lines. Gap 8 slightly longer. Pixels. Next, elements inside with the class language item will have the following style. We copy the styles for these elements directly from Figma. So blue 8 do, we have such a class, or rather such a variable. No, there is no such variable, but we will look in the dark version to see if there is the same value. So 175 is 226. Yes, the same value. So we don't need a variable here. We just specify its value as the color. And for the font, in the next section we will explore the style and another more style for positioning, padding, and yes, we can set it to 16:8. This setting is crucial as it ensures that the layout is both visually appealing and functionally effective. Everything is great, and we will be moving on to the next element, which is the description. The description is a key component as it provides essential information and context, enhancing the overall understanding of the content. We don't change anything for the description. Next, please kindly proceed. The next is this container with metadata. Here is the separator. I don't quite understand the SVG here, which seems to repeat, so I'll think about how we will create it. Probably we'll just simplify all the elements that we have here. Importer. Color. We'll set like this as an option. Let's see how it displays now, but it's quite normal, so I'll leave this separator as it is. I won't cut it out and struggle with it now. Figuring out what kind of candles are set here in the design further on in the typography cyber style. I add them. Further in each element. Here we have an interesting thing. Our platform needs to be centered on the left, everything else on the right. And different classes were set. I didn't consider this moment, so I'll just edit it now. So let's go to the block where we created here. So the label text will be for all. This item text. Text Amita. As we have set, let's take a look. Their meta. We will also use the label text. Let's go up. These are our three metas. And the value itself is also enclosed in this. But for at first, if the style changes, so 16 here, and here 14 in this case, probably. To avoid changing a lot of CSS, we will set a class, and on these elements. This class needs to be set overall, this div. Right here where the meta is, we set a div. Close the div. For another meta, we set a div. Close the div. And the last one, we set a div. Close the div. Now, when we have the separation, we can center them. Display, flex, align items. But when centered, they will reach the content on the right side. Therefore, we will set flex and the label text for it. Set. Online set, reach set. I already forgot these properties. Reach set to flex. So, logically, so this one, flex start, doesn't do what I want. Yes, let's try differently then. Let's try to set the width to 100%. But then here most likely it will get squished. Yes, it will get a little squished, but that's okay. White space. Works great. And gap is needed. Here we have gaps, but we will make the same 24 as everywhere else. Let's move up 4 pixels. Next, A10 text. They are larger, 16 pixels. And by the way, these platforms, yes, we need to make links. I didn't consider this moment. Now we will add links to them. So simultaneously with this, the style for links. Let's add, we have a link here, right here. And its color will be like this. We should also have 16:16 present. So here, where we have border, padding button, 16 pixels, and cap is also 16 pixels. But the last div should not have a border. This release does not have either a border or padding, so last child. We update border, update padding. So it's already wonderfully looking like what we have in the layout. Links, let's add links, let's go. Again, in the territory of the stove. Here where we generate platforms and genres. These are taxonomies for us, so there are archive pages for them. In WordPress, we just need to add a link to the parameters, backbone, and the closing tag. We can get the link itself through the getTermLink function. And we need to pass either the ID or the object, and in the platform, I store the current object. This is mine. This way, I will pass the platform, just checking if it generates the link we need. Indeed, generates the link we need as we get here. And the 404 page. In fact, because when a new taxi is created, it is set as new. In the admin panel, you always need to do. Rewrite, flash. That is, go to permalink. Either just enter or resave. And after that, you see the link works and loads the data, but there is no template for it, not specified, and it uses the global article, which we did not edit. Let's go back. Oops, went back too far. The same thing, let's add it to the genres as well. I take the link, scroll down to the genres, but I will pass this genre object. Closing the link, don't forget. Next, the link should not have an underline. We reset style. Everything looks very good. Let's move on. Next, we need to style this area. So back 24. Next is the button. We have it. In other elements, let's take its class. It's probably in our game store. Yes, indeed, let's assign these classes. This is where somewhere in this area it is generated. Here. Is so good in terms of cost. Let's put this product on sale to immediately ensure that the styles for the discount are added. Let's open this. You can already see the product style loading in the admin panel. Somewhere it needs to be overridden. Again, these margins, but overall it looks very good. And we go down to where the price is. Let's set the discount to 20. Update it. Well, now we have something to work with. So we remove unnecessary properties. Not sure if we need it, but we'll keep it since we did a copy paste from Figma. But it is not interpreted by the browser, so we take it. I haven't encountered it before. So now let's try to swap them, because the old price is on the right using Flexbox, and we will do that. And so $1 we'll have order 2. Well, this one will have order 1. So wait, where to copy and style? I was very inattentive when I copied the style of 14 pixels. And here are our styles. So of course they don't apply to the elements. Let's remove them entirely from here and give, in this way, I was inattentive and inserted the wrong styles. Yes, it's already good. We set the gradient. Here is the gradient we are using. Further. Now we style, but why are they centered on discounts? Well, probably along the bottom line. So let's try to set it on using flex and style. Now this. Here it turns out to be the bottom style. So you see, this align works correctly, but visually they don't look exactly as we need. Now let's try to lift it using align height. If it helps, great. If not, then we'll find another solution. So in my opinion, visually, if you take them along the bottom baseline, they are even. Line height, 32 pixels helped us in this case. So we'll add it. Update it once more. Make sure, yes, it looks quite normal now. Let's look further. Further right here as well, there is a separator. We can add it specifically to the block. This button, therefore. Peeling button. Peeling button at 32 pixels. Also, border, button, 1 pixel. Let's see. Here, what kind of line is this? Solid line. So everything is indeed great. We added this separator as well. I suggest this. Style, the heading. We have H4, but overall we use H4. Within our content we can style. We just have 2 elements. Here it's 32, there it's 24. We will make probably 24 for both elements. Margin bottom 24. This is needless. Okay. Next we added strong text here, but there are no styles for it. We can add such an exception so that at least there are some styles for strong. Again, for the website, it would be worth specifying them somewhere. There, all the basic default styles for lists were not done, but usually in projects they need to be specified. And the slider remains. Now to make this slider for the slider, I think we need separate wrapper. Let's remember, we have already used the slider in previous blocks. So, in which one? In GameLine we definitely had it. And is it dynamic? Therefore, in the PHP block, we search. Let's use the search. Yes, this is the class we need. And the second condition is that SwipeASlide should be inside the element. Let's return back to our code and our slider. So here is our slide. All these elements, we need to put them into a separate container. Oops, I put div inside div, so we just place a div and close it. And the second point, class SwipeASlide. Okay, next. In our block, we need to write the JS. We don't have it, but now we will create it with you. We'll create a JS file and load it into the JS block. View Street. File. So, like this budget is great. Now here we need this slider. Class for the slider. This one. And according to the parameters, the previous parameters. First of all, it will be enclosed. Slide for the first time. Let's do it. Automatically? No, let's not do one. Why automatically? So the speed, set it to 1000. So what else? Navigation. Enable it on the keyboard. Pagination. So it seems like all others. We don't need to issue any properties. Let's see what we have. But we haven't created the aggregation element yet. So there's no aggregation there. I like that it's stretched out and not showing just one element. Why? This kind of flow is missing. Maybe I didn't insert all the classes. Let's look at the previous example again. But no, there's no other class here. Probably we just need to manually set the flow for the item, it seems, the container itself. It doesn't have any styles at all. None. Let's set them. Thus, in this area, further, let's comment on the bending. We don't have a container yet. I think I'm not pressing it after all. It compresses when it bullets the points, but I need navigation. I think, though, I'm not exactly sure. Let's try now, and if needed, we'll seek help from Google. And we usually set 2 elements, next and previous. Yes, like this. And these 2 containers here. Don't forget, we must in our markup have. So once again, let's go to where we have the slider outside the wrapper. So we close the wrapper. After this div here we have swiper next and a div with the class. Swiper ref. Let me test it for now. But I can't see them. I'll need to style them then like this. It didn't work out. Apparently they go beyond the container in CSS. So, on the right 10 pixels from the bottom, 10 pixels. But one of them is facing right. Here it is. This here, from the bottom to have an effect plus 10 and plus 6484. It turns out to be difficult. It seems we styled it. I think they will appear for us now. Here they appeared. They work, but they do not display where I need them. That is, I assign them a style. But the swiper styles override them. So we'll do the following trick. Rename the selector, and then it won't use the styles from swiper. Let's see, here they are. The only thing left is to add more styles. I think ZIndex will solve this problem. They go under the image and in JS we'll change it here too, because they are not responding yet. Next, we will need this icon. We'll convert it into a background. It will be through a pseudo element before just a background. Pseudo element before, we'll set it here and write all the basic styles once. So the width and height are 2424. And this container turns into flex to center the pseudo. So good. Everything seems logical. And background. This left icon we place as a cursor. Let's add and the second point on the image, we will add an outline, is needed. Currently, they were cut out with an outline, but normally it should have an outline of 30 pixels. Looking here from above, we are missing margin as far as I can see. Here is the header. And yes, we are missing margin, but here is also the question, where should I apply it? Probably I went back to the editor, added a group with a class, so that in this group I have the content, meaning the content block that we inserted. And this, notice, because if I add the top margin now to my single game element, it works perfectly now. But when the notice appears, the notice will stick to the header, although that's not a problem either, because here you can simulate it and not worry. But you got the sequence, meaning you can always, if additional containers are needed, always use a group. And in Gutenberg, we can insert up to 10 nested groups and insert classes into them, your personal ones. So let's go up here. I set a margin top here, but in WordPress, the first block that has a margin, it is usually reset. I'll try to override it using important. And now the whole Sean jumped down. Now the exact margin I need is being used. What else can be done? You can trim 2 lines with CSS, but on the other hand, we don't need to trim on a single page anymore. It's one thing to trim on an active page, but it's not recommended here. Maybe the images need to be changed faster. So, 300 milliseconds. The fact that they have a border, and to make it last long, or even set a fade, some kind of effect. Well, it doesn't matter. So the head is set too high, most likely because of the content, and the image is tall. Otherwise, I think we are finishing this lesson. We implemented what we planned, styled this block. In the admin panel, it also looks great on some elements such as the title. You can add a marker and reset. We'll fix this. Now, this match it. Nero, let's add an encore paragraph. We'll reset the top maximum. So here it didn't reset. And as you can see, I set it on the wrong match, unfortunately, of course. And here probably it's also not there. It's inside the game that interests me. He didn't live with us, apparently. This title, Alcin. Description. So as an option, sets up. Here, something still didn't work. Game description. Paragraph, they link. To finish long because already I'm writing one thing, voicing another. Wonderful. So in the admin panel, of course, our slider doesn't work. Maybe we can come up with something. We can proceed as follows. Let's probably do that moment right now as well. There, if suddenly there are 10 photos, it will look unattractive. We will find a class. Here, for example, some, like on the body to 2p, admin. And then we will be located body VIP admin. I would write these styles in the admin CSS, but we deleted it, although we thought there wouldn't be any code in it. It turns out there might be code there, but I will write this style by simply making a selector specifically for the admin panel and addressing the image. But not specifically to the image probably, but to the selector. Game screen top. And they will be with us. Display? None. But only one which? The first child will be display. Block. So if there are 10 images, we will visually see only one. That's how the slider looks and works here again with styles, some of which I will not edit or correct right now. It's just important that this block exists, looks normal, and it's clear what content it has. We conclude this lesson here, and in the next one, we will start with other blocks and gradually implement this page. See you in the next lesson.